Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to create a troll model for a game I'm working on, Keep the Keep. Now before I model, I created this sketch. It was a very rough sketch, but again, because I'm the one modeling, I don't need to do any sort of extensive references. So I'm using the goblin model, which is already in-game, and it has the right scale to use as a scale reference for what the troll will be. The troll should be a little bit taller. Ideally, the goblin's head would go on the armpit. I'm doing the shape of the drawing using splines because once you turn on wireframe, the drawing goes away because the drawing is just a texture. But the wireframes will stay, so it's a good way to keep your reference or your blueprints in a way, even if you're using a wireframe view. As well, it's nice to use the line tool to replicate your drawing because it kind of puts you in the mindset of changing your drawing into a polygonal shape. That's basically one of the tricks for reading your own shapes as a 3D model before it becomes a 3D model. I usually start with a cylinder, an 8-sided cylinder, specifically for this poly count, which should stay below the 700 polygons. 800 polygons down to the goblin is around 300 polygons, 390 I think. So I create the cylinder, I create the basic shape while it's still one cylinder, and once I have the right silhouette from the front view, I then split the cylinder in two and create a mirrored shape on the other side. That way I can start extruding limbs without having to deal with extruding both limbs at the same time or extruding limbs that look symmetrical. The mirror modifier or the mirror trick will solve that for me. I also usually extrude the shoulders from the top there of the side of the trapeze, and I do that as sort of a way to do it. I would rather much draw or model the arms separately and then actually weld the two parts together, but it's quicker for me to just do that and sort of relax the mesh. Here I'm showing some optimizations that I did. So for example, I could have removed the neck as a different object and then just pull that vertex down and you wouldn't be able to see the joint. Plus you would mostly be seeing the model from the top. You would hardly ever see the mesh of the neck. So here I usually do this as well. I extrude the limb from the point where it connects to the body, so shoulder or hip. I extrude it all the way down to where it turns into the hand or a foot, and then I connect the parts of the mesh where I want edge loops to be. And that way I basically create a whole shape and don't have to deal with scaling the shape later on. Now, because I'm working on mirrored versions and orthogonal perspectives, I don't want to twist the legs just yet. The hands are going to be like ridiculously low polygon hands, and they are going to be fists. Again, this character is going to be really, really, really tiny on screen. There's almost hardly any need for creating sort of the wrist. It's probably just, I could probably do just like a stump on the model itself. I am putting in a little bit of detail here on the belly because I think the belly is an important part of the character design. It's supposed to be like a lumbering sort of character, and the idea of having the face, that face of the belly facing up, isn't so much about the lighting because we're going to use static lighting, but much more about the texture space and have that be a focal point for people to recognize the character as well. If there's like a big belly just leading the body, you can kind of see it really well. So for the face, I usually do edge modeling, which is I create the silhouette of the face and then I just extrude edges outwards and build the face from the main elements. So the nose, the mouth, and the eyes. And then I kind of fill in the gaps with any form of topology that I feel is either optimal or optimized or the one that fits with the shape the best. So in this case, as soon as the mesh starts going down the lip, I really don't care what the topology looks like because it's probably never going to be seen. I'm mostly worried about the shape of the nose and the shape of the tusks in this case because we sort of decided that the character is going to have some massive tusks coming out. So the same thing here with the head. It's not where you're going to be looking at the back of the head because you can see the character approaching. He's always going to be facing the camera. When he's not facing the camera, you're going to probably be looking at other characters because this guy will be facing an object that you're protecting. So you'd be more focused on whether or not he's attacking. So I think I'm worrying now about the polygon count, and I just duplicated a polygon there for creating the ears, and I'm not sure if these ears are like the final ones. Yeah, I'm making some changes here at the chin, but pushing the chin forward actually makes the character a little bit more menacing, and this character is meant to look a little bit stupid. That's why I sort of don't want him to look strong in any way. Like he's not supposed to be like a menace. He's supposed to be, you know, fairly done. That's why the head is so slumped down on his chest almost. The arms are way longer, almost like he's you know, like a sloth. So I mean, you're supposed to worry about him, this character, but not really be very strategical with your attacks or with your he's an early enemy. That's mostly what I mean. So here for the legs, a lot of this could be optimized as well, but I'm mostly focusing on whether or not I want to remove the mesh or make the shorts that I gave him wider or thinner. There's also a mesh underneath the feet that I'm going to clean up, and again, this is the legs will move with running animations, and I don't really need that much detail to just convey. What I need is silhouette. What I need is shape. I need the shorts to be visible. I need the feet to have a good silhouette. That's why I made the split toe. Here I'm optimizing the mesh underneath the foot. But even though this is one of the early characters, you're not going to have like crowds of 50 of these characters. So I'm allowed a little bit more poly count than I was, for example, on the Goblin, which used to be 600 polygons and now is down to a little less than 400. And that's a good improvement. Like if you reduce the amount of polygons of your character by half, you could, you know, theoretically have double the characters on screen, which is not exactly true, but it's, you know, kind of close to that. So if this character is not going to be in a big crowd of 50, I can kind of spend a little bit more polygons on him to make him a little bit more recognizable. That's mostly what I think of. In this case, I was using the freeform deformation to sort of accentuate the shape, the arching of the back of the character, which I felt would be more interesting to have just overall. Again, have him slumped over, more like a sloth, more like a lazy character maybe. It's just to reduce the feel of menacingness of this to this character, so that he doesn't feel as powerful or as dangerous as some others will. Here again, dealing with the wrist. The problem with the wrist is not only trying to get the shape of a wrist, which is basically, you know, a sphere in a way, but also having then to deal with texturing that and have it look like a fist that would make sense in the model. So here I'm going to just duplicate these parts, give them all the same material, and have a little bit of a spin around so you guys can see what it looks like. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. Take care.